Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jeanelle. Slade. Jay has the night off. After years of overcrowding, the Yellowstone County Jail now has some much-needed extra space. As inmates anticipate a little more room to breathe, taxpayers can also breathe a sigh of relief as the $16 million project comes in under budget. More room, more safety, and a new outlook for the Yellowstone County Jail. Q2's Zoe Zandora took a tour of the expanded facility today to give us a look inside.
Incredible job. These guys on time, under budget. The quality is just incredible.
The Yellowstone County Detention Facility hosted an open house today for the recently constructed women's unit. In 2012, the facility booked over 10,000 people into the original jail, and in 2013, the number didn't seem to be going down, and the city knew they had to do something with the jail capacity.
Right now, we have some people that we're not putting in jail that probably should be put in jail. Just basically because of the space. You know, when we get up close to 500 people in the existing 286-bed jail, there are some people that we have to turn around.
From 10,000 people booked back in 2012 to 6,700 today shows the conscious effort the city has made to keep those out who don't belong in jail and those in who do. One of the problems the department faced is the increase in the number of women that were being incarcerated.
When I was working patrol, and then when I was eventually assigned to the Marshals Task Force, I was coming in here every day, into the existing unit every day, and I just saw people in the intake units and in the booking area and stuff, just how busy it was and how crowded it was, and just sometimes the look on the staff's face about, oh, you're bringing in another one, that type of stuff. And where were we going to put them? And especially the women, because we were seeing more and more of that.
The new addition to the Yellowstone County Detention Facility is designed to hold 148 people, from state to federal inmates. The expansion will allow women to be classified and housed in either maximum, medium, or low security units.
If you have a real serious offender that can't be around other people, or maybe it's a keep separate because they have a commonality in a case, a criminal case or something, they can't be in contact with each other, we wouldn't allow us to have somebody out of their cell without having everybody else locked up. So that's why we use the design that we did, a classification design like this.
In Billings, Zoe Zandora, MTN News.
And Zoe tells us Sheriff Linder expects inmates to move into the new space within the next couple weeks. The North Carolina transient accused of carjacking and killing a former Bighorn County sheriff last month pleads not guilty. And just minutes later, a Yellowstone County District Court judge bumped the suspect's bond from $1 to $2 million. Donald Gray Jr. is also implicated in a second murder on the other side of the country. Gray was arrested in Billings following the June 10th death of former Sheriff William Joy. Court documents state Gray stabbed the 81-year-old man to death after an attempted carjacking at a Billings post office and left his body in a middle school parking lot. Gray is also suspected of killing a 59-year-old North Carolina woman. Now, that woman, Tamara Gibson, was reported missing in late May. Her body was found in Kansas, and her car was found burned in Laramie, Wyoming on June 1st. Planning and preparations are in full swing in Great Falls for the president's scheduled visit this Thursday. Well, today the Cascade County Sheriff released more details about the event. MTN's Margaret DeMarco shows us.
When the last employee leaves the Montana Expo Park Tuesday night, these gates will be locked until 10:30 on July 5th.
There's many moving parts to this whole thing.
Cascade County Sheriff Bob Edwards held a press conference Tuesday morning to go over what people should expect for President Donald Trump's visit.
We have the entire fairgrounds to worry about in the Expo Park. The Secret Service is in control of the Four Seasons Arena.
When the gates reopen, the public will be able to enter the park through two of the gates on 3rd Street Northwest and one gate on 6th Street Northwest.
Half of this main parking lot will be designated for those with handicap or disabled plates.
Edwards says there will be no shuttle runs to the Four Seasons, so people may have to walk a distance to get to the venue.
Food midway, so everybody will be guided there, and then there will be barriers set up, so the line will start there. We will not let people through that barrier until the Secret Service opens the doors for the event.
Edwards says the picnic tables and benches are set up. The Paddock Club will also be open to sell food and drinks for those waiting in line.
What not to bring to this event. Of course, weapons of any kind are not allowed. Guns, knives, nothing sharp, pepper sprays.
Lawn chairs or coolers are not allowed while you are waiting in line. Also, do not bring alcohol to the event.
You're going to see a very strong law enforcement presence. I want people to expect long lines. There's a high potential that they'll see demonstrators. Like I said, let them protest it peacefully.
Edwards says any disorderly conduct will not be tolerated and those people will be removed and they could possibly be arrested. Edwards says they're expecting 6,000 people to attend the event, so he is asking people to please be patient as they wait to get inside. In Great Falls, Margaret DeMarco, MTN News.
Thanks, Margaret. Now, President Trump will speak in Great Falls Thursday afternoon. Our MTN team will bring you live coverage from 3:30 in the afternoon through your 5:30 newscast. In other news tonight, a piece of South Dakota now scattered across Montana after last week's string of tornadoes. The Capital Journal newspaper reports the storm system produced at least 5 tornadoes, and one of them, an E3, hit a South Dakota ranch with wind speeds at about 136 miles per hour. That was just enough to lift one rancher's 5-ton tractor completely off the ground and carry it more than a mile off the property. The tornado couldn't keep the tractor in one piece, as some parts were found at least 3 miles away from the ranch, which is about 100 yards from the Montana border. On the weather scene here in this region, Bob, we may actually get a chance at fireworks instead of thunder tomorrow.
Yeah, I think Mother Nature did her fireworks tonight and last night, and so now it looks like by tomorrow things will be shaping up. So what's left of tonight's storms, you can see not nearly as bad as last night. So I think we had like dime size and some penny size hail. Last night, remember, we had ping pong ball size hail. Well, these storms continue to make their way up in the northeast corner of the state, and so they're just about out of our area now. We do see some pretty strong thunderstorms on the eastern side of Glasgow, heading into Williston, North Dakota, and Miles City. Now, we still have a severe thunderstorm watch until 3 o'clock tomorrow morning for most of northeastern Montana. But you'll notice for tomorrow evening, starting at wet time, about 6 o'clock, we're looking at 77 degrees, sunny and dry. Still dry at 8 p.m. and 76. It'll be 67 degrees at 10 p.m. when the fireworks start going off. So it looks like tomorrow should be a great 4th of July, Jeanelle.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. Well, crews were out this morning closing down the rims for the Independence Day holiday. The closures include the area along the rims from Main Street in the Heights, along the south side of Highway 3 to Zimmerman Park. And Zimmerman Park and Phipps Park are both included in the closures. There will be no access for vehicles, bikes, or pedestrians until that area is reopened. After years of closing the rims for the holiday, the fire department opened the area last year as an experiment. Fire Chief Bill Rash says he patrolled the area himself last year and observed some concerns, prompting the city to keep the rims closed this year. Well, safety over the 4th of July holiday isn't just important for humans. The 4th and 5th of July are the busiest days of the year for animal shelters responding to calls about lost pets. Betsy Snow, a volunteer for Bark, advises owners to have current photos of your animals in the event that they run off. ID tags with updated information and microchipping your animal can also be beneficial in getting them home. Now, Snow tells us if your animals are scared of fireworks, secure them in a safe room, in a crate possible, and add some background noise to help drown out the commotion. And after it's all said and done, make sure to clean up your celebration space.
Pastures and yards can have remnants of bottle rockets and all sorts of fireworks that may have residual chemicals on them. And animals are curious, they may pick them up and chew on them, and that could be harmful.
Now, Snow also says if you currently do not have tags for your animals, at least attach tape with your information to their collar. Well, AAA calls this Terrible Tuesday. A record number of people headed out of town for the 4th of July holiday, and those traveling by car are paying more at the pump than in previous years. Chris Martinez reports.
Some 40 million Americans are hitting the road for the 4th of July holiday. Matt Shakin is one of them. He traveled from San Francisco to Los Angeles to be with family, knowing he'd be spending more at the pump.
It's what you have to do at this time of year. You know, if you want to see the family, you're going to have to spend a couple extra bucks.
Gas prices are up 62 cents compared to this time last year. It's the most expensive July 4th holiday price in 4 years. Jeanette Castellano from AAA says crude oil prices are the main reason why.
When we see crude prices go up, we generally see gas prices go up too. Even with OPEC's potential decision to increase their production, it may not be enough to offset the supply levels not keeping pace with demand.
Prices dropped recently, but they're expected to go up 10 cents or even more in the coming months.
There's a large potential that gas prices may hit a new high later this fall.
There are apps like Gas Buddy, Gas Guru, Google Maps, and Waze that can help drivers find cheaper gas, and prices vary greatly depending on where you live. People in the South are paying around $2.50 a gallon, while drivers in California are paying much more.
Between like $3.90 and $4.50, depending on the area where you're in.
And prices are only expected to go higher. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And according to AAA, Montana and Wyoming are both trending on the higher side of gas prices. The statewide averages are $2.94 in Montana and $2.97 in Wyoming. Comparatively, Idaho is tracking around $3.16 and North and South Dakota about $2.85 a gallon. Coming up on tonight's 10 o'clock news, they've been found alive, but why could it take months to rescue the stranded Thai soccer team? And later in sports tonight, Scott continues a fast-paced rodeo week with action from Red Lodge and Livingston.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.